So good morning, everyone in Zoom audience, and the Facebook Live today is the 15th of August, 2021, and today we are going to restart our international English online meetings. And today we have, as usual, a very special guest speaker, Dixie Santana Villegas from Mexico, but I just learned that you were born in?
Los Angeles, California.
Okay. So very good. Thank you very much, Dixie, for giving us part of your free time on a Sunday morning. And thank you, everyone. Hello, Juan Jesus. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, hello.
For accepting.
No, please, thank you for being here with us. Please, thank you. Okay, as usual, let me show you my screen so we can make some announcements. Our international English online meetings restart again today. And as usual, there are three quotes I would like you to read and express your opinion. Could you please start, Roxy?
Sure. A person who never made a mistake never tried anything new. Albert Einstein.
So?
Can agree more. Yes, I think the time that we stop making mistakes and learning from them, we stop living.
Yes, yes. Do you remember, everyone here, when you gave your first workshop, how nervous you felt, how afraid you felt? Right, and still, we still feel afraid, right?
Exactly, yes. And it means that it deserves, the effort and the moment.
Right. Next, please, Raj.
It's impossible, said pride. It's risky, said experience. It's pointless, said reason. Give it a try, whispered the heart. Of course, go with the heart. Go with an open heart.
Yeah, so some people say, listen to your heart, but pay more attention to your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need both your mind
and there must be a balance, right? And Dixie, the last one.
4 things you can't get back: the stone after it's thrown, the word after it's said, the occasion after it's missed, the time after it's gone. Yes, take advantage of everything. And also, before you throw stones and say words, think about them before you do it.
Yes, and check, maybe it's not a stone, but maybe a piece of paper, a feather.
Maybe an email.
Maybe an email. Right. Okay, so as usual, let me do the propaganda. So if you want to watch all the videos, about 50, 60, I don't know how many, you can watch them in Jaime and Kahima Teacher Training YouTube channel. And our guest speakers for the following months are Ulises Cordova from Colombia. He will be talking about exploring TBLT as an alternative to foster EFL learning opportunities. Then our good friend Irma Guzman from Ecuador, she will be talking about playing with words. Oh my God. And then on Sundays, the 26th of September, we'll have Tania Cajamarca from Ecuador. She will be talking about effective tools to promote reading in the classroom. And then we will have a beautiful round table with coordinators and directors of programs in different universities. We'll be talking about what's going on with teaching English in Latin America. Then our good friend Jose Lobo from Colombia, he will be talking about communicative competence, past and current perceptions. And then 60 International, our good friend Roxy, she will be talking about, is mindset more important than techniques? And she will answer that question.
I hope.
So do I. Well, let me say a few words about our good friend, Dixie Santana. I love your last name, Santana.
Yes.
Dixie Santana has been involved in ELT for over 35 years as a teacher, trainer, materials developer, and program administrator. She holds a PhD in education from ITSO University in Guadalajara and a specialist diploma in English language teaching. She's currently a member of the faculty of the School of Communication at Universidad Panamericana, Campus Guadalajara. She's a member of the Sistema Nacional de Investigadores at level 1. Her research interests include psychological constructs of language learning, such as anxiety. Wow, that is one of my weaknesses, anxiety, and metacognition. And she's a frequent speaker at national and international teaching conference. So welcome, dear Dixie. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing your expertise with us this morning. So welcome, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Jaime. And thank you, everybody, for being
Dixie.
here.
Thank you, Dixie.
Thank you for taking part of your Sunday to be here with me. I've sent in the chat the handout of this talk.
Okay.
So you can disconnect now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I'm going to explain how the handout works. And please feel free to share that with everybody, okay? So Jaime, if you want to post that somewhere where other people can have access to it.
I will.
And the teachers who are here with us, also please feel free to share it.
Yeah, just a reminder, Dixie, remember we have an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
And during the time you can stop to drink some water and we will make you some questions or comments, okay?
Sure.
Thank you, go on. The screen is all yours.
Okay, great. Okay, so here's the PowerPoint and here we go. Okay, so the title of today's talk, as Jaime mentioned, by the way, Jaime, thank you very much for the invitation to be here. As I was telling you while we were chatting at the beginning, the thing that I love of all the activities that I do for work, the one that I love the most is working with teachers. So this is a great opportunity for me. Okay, so focusing on positive emotions in the classroom. And first I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to talk about. And then I'm going to tell you what I am going to talk about. And then we're going to talk about what are positive emotions and why are they important. And then we're going to look at some activities. I expect this to be an interactive session, so you will be participating in the activities. And I also would like you to think about your own activities and to share them with everyone also. Okay, so before I tell you what I'm not talking about, let me tell you that I got the first idea for this workshop in 2019. So this workshop is pre-pandemic. So it's not something that I thought about, oh, this would be a good idea while we're in a pandemic, or this is not. I think that it will be especially useful now because of the situation that we're living. But even before the pandemic, people were stressed out. And we see this in the classroom and we see it with the kids. And we think childhood should be the best period of your life. It should be the happiest. And we find that for a lot of children, it's not. We find that they're living situations at home that are very stressful. There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of bullying. So we see that they're not always, as happy as they should be. And so the idea that came to me is like, we can offer our classroom as a safe space for them to know that they can be, that they're at least, they are listened to, they are understood, and they are protected. Okay, so I'm talking about children, but these activities are not only for children. They are appropriate for, we'll be seeing different activities, some specifically for children, and some no, they're for older people, and some even for teachers, if you want to do this in a teacher workshop. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so what I'm not talking about. What I'm not talking about is putting smiley faces on everything and trying to pretend that nothing is happening. I think that one mistake that we have made in general as people during this special time that we're living, I think that we've tried to pretend that nothing is happening and that life goes on as usual. And the reality is that's not the case. Lots of things are happening. People are ill, people are dying, people that don't die, they have serious consequences. People are losing their jobs, people are losing their livelihoods. It's difficult to go out. We're afraid all the time. Somebody was telling me yesterday that her niece, who's about 4 or 5 years old, she met some other kids the other day and they were like, oh, what a play. Should we get close to them? Can I touch them? And so, we're living that kind of thing where life has changed dramatically, and we need to recognize that, right? It's not just pretend that nothing is happening and go on and be happy. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, what I am talking about is being aware of what's going on around us and accepting it. And then from there, after acceptance, moving on. When we first moved to online classes, I don't know if you had the same situation, but there were people who were working with me, teachers who were working with me, that were saying, I don't want to do online classes. I don't like online classes. I want to be in the classroom. And we would say, there is no classroom. But I want to go back to, there is no classroom. There's nothing to go back to. And it was difficult for them to make that jump, right? And the only thing that happens when you don't do that is you make yourself very unhappy. One of the teachers finally said, okay, well, I guess I'll have to live with it. But the other one finally decided to say, that's it. I won't be teaching anymore. I don't want to teach anymore with these new circumstances. And that's, acceptable. If that's his choice, that's it. But it's not a choice for many of us, right? We say, well, I do have to continue working. I can't just walk out. And the same thing with the kids. I don't like online classes, so I'm not going back to school. No, we have to learn to live with the new circumstances. Okay, so this is more or less what I'm talking about. Accepting, acknowledging, understanding that life has changed dramatically, and then saying, okay, I adapt to the new circumstances, and then I live my life with whatever life wants to send me. Okay. Okay, great. We've done some studies. We've looked at students specifically, and we've looked at schools. So we've looked at students and we've looked at schools. Okay, so Jaime told you that I work at a university. So my students are 18 to 22 years old, more or less, 23. And so we've interviewed them and we've asked them, how do you feel? What are you doing? What do you like about the online classes? What do you hate about the online classes? And something that they say specifically is the classes that they enjoy the most are where they're actively doing things. Not just listening to the teacher talking, but where they're actively involved and where they have the opportunity to interact with other students. This seems to me very normal. We are social creatures. We like to socialize. And so opportunities to socialize are important for us. We don't have many right now at this moment. We miss that. And so in our classes, we should be looking for ways for students to socialize. But we also interviewed younger students, the ones that are in the equivalent of high school, let's say 15, 16, 17-year-olds. And with them, we find despair. We find a lot of sadness. They're seriously worried. They are very anxious. They are suffering a lot. They miss their friends. They miss going out. It's difficult for them to adapt. The schools haven't done a good job. So we found this, and it's really heartbreaking. We found a lot of this with the kids, but then suddenly we found one group of young students that they were a little bit more, let's say, positive, a little more upbeat. And we found that they came from one school, from one same school. So we said, what is this school doing? And what they're doing right. And it turns out that what they do is every week they have like little meetings where they just go and they chat. and they talk about how are you feeling, what are you doing, what's up, how's everybody in your family, is everybody doing okay, what's worrying you, and these little opportunities to chat via Zoom online within the safe space of their school, it makes a big difference for them. So this is something important that we need to think about. Students do need that opportunity, like to express what they're feeling and their fears and their worries. And also we've looked at schools. And so we looked at like the schools who are surviving in this period. Okay, so we say, okay, there are some schools that didn't survive because they couldn't make the technological jump. They didn't have the resources to be able to go online, or the students didn't have the possibilities. So they did what they could, but they haven't been able to survive. And then we have the schools that at the beginning, they're, let's say that they have a lot of resources, they were able to invest, they're more technologically advanced, and so they were able to survive a little bit longer. But the ones that are just technological, they're not doing well right now in this period. They're losing students. And then we look at schools that are not only doing well, but they're doing even better than they did before. They're thriving, they're flourishing. And we said, okay, so what's going on with these schools? What's the difference with the ones that are technologically advanced and not surviving, and technologically advanced and doing well? And what we discovered is the human aspect, okay? In the schools that are just technologically advanced, they made the mistake of just putting information online and, okay, so here's the video, watch the video, do the activities, and then maybe meeting once a week. And they said it'll be easier, it'll be more practical. Yeah, but what the students really miss is the human connection. Being able to work together, being able to talk to a teacher, having a teacher that says, how are you doing? Are you okay? Together we'll get out of this situation. Okay, so these are things that are really, really important to think about. If we are going to survive this period, however long it takes, we need to not lose the human connection, even if it's online, okay? I don't know if you have any questions or comments about this so far.
Anyone has a question or a comment to make? Hello, Carmen, good morning in England.
Hi, good morning. It's afternoon here. Thank you very much. I would just like to say that I think students appreciate a lot the fact that we language teachers, they feel that we do care. We do put more, as you say, the human element. And I've been doing a bit of research as well. And what students say is that they feel that the language teachers are more interested. They do care. It's different from a math teacher, for example, where you don't have to show so many emotions, but they do appreciate that language teachers are different. That's what they say.
That's true. I never, sorry. I never pay attention to that. With mathematics, you don't need to show many emotions, right? A good point.
Yeah, I think, thank you, Carmen, for that, because I think it is a really, really interesting point. We can say it's not our job, but then we discover it is, because since our job is speaking and teaching speaking, our students do have the opportunity to express a lot of things.
I may say something else, is that in our cases, the problem is that if students are behind in some of the other subjects, they can catch up because they are learning in their mother tongue, while in English, they are learning and doing everything with the same medium. So it's a double risk or something. So that is a problem. And that's why we need to show emotions, because we as teachers also, we need to show our emotions, and that we can have some kind of link with the students. So otherwise it's just another cold subject, let's say.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, and thank you for saying that. And also something else is that that's one of the areas where we want to pretend that everything is the same. We want them to complete the same program, and we say okay, suddenly we want to do everything. This is what the program says, and this is what we have to do. And no, we don't have to do that. We need to, I think, step back a little bit and take it easy. Not be, how can I say this? They have to make up for the classes. These are artificial constraints that we've said. Why do we say that they have to do this? I think that the number one thing right now is to make it out of this situation and make it out healthy and more or less in one piece. And everything else is something extra. So you might say, well, I don't have time to do all of this in my program. Well, yeah, but I think that, there's some things that are more important than the program.
I may say something else is that
I'd say, well, I don't have time to do all of this in my program. Well, sorry, yeah, but I think that, there's some things that are more important than the program.
Dixie, I too want to add that I think content is important. And I
Yes.
think connection is important. The more connected I feel with my educator or teacher, the more I'm going to be able to take in the content. So
And that's exactly the next point. That's exactly the next point. And thank you for making that comment. Okay. So what are we talking about when we, okay, now this is stuck. There we go. Okay, what are we talking about when we're talking about positive emotions? Positive emotions, okay, so the idea is this comes from positive psychology. And this is a movement that began in the year 1999, 2000, at the turn of the century. And the person who was the president of the American Psychological Association at that moment, Dr. Martin Seligman, he began to ask himself, why do we always have to focus on negative things as psychologists? Why are we always working with pain and with trauma and with negative things? Why can't we look at what makes people happy? What makes people thrive? What makes people, the science of happiness? And so he started this movement, and so the movement has progressed. It started in psychology. It was adopted later by educators, and lately it has been finding a position in language teaching. Okay, so right now you're going to find a lot of literature about this, about positive psychology related to language acquisition or language teaching in general. So what do they mean by positive emotions? Positive emotions are joy, they are interest, they are inspiration, they are contentment, and they are gratitude. These are not the only positive emotions, but these are some examples. Okay, so joy is like in the moment, right? And interest is being interested in something. And inspiration is being inspired by something. And contentment is that long-term feeling of being happy. And then gratitude, which may be the most important of all of these emotions, okay? All right, so the idea is that we should try to provoke these emotions in our classes. Our classrooms should be moments of joy, should be moments of interest, definitely, should be moments of inspiration, should be moments of contentment, or should lead to contentment, and we should have space for gratitude there. One of the persons who has studied, who began to apply positive psychology to education in general is Dr. Barbara Fredrickson. So right now we are going to see a short video where she is explaining these positive emotions. Okay, so let me click on the video and let me know if you can see it and hear it, okay? Let's click here and cross our fingers. Can you see it?
Yeah, and listen to it and hear it.
Perfect.
jump for joy, positive emotions can seem kind of trivial, out of place, maybe irrelevant. And what I want to argue is that that's really, nothing could be further from the case. There are a whole range of positive emotions, including, that feeling in our bones grateful for our current circumstances, completely in tune with our environment, at one, at peace, feeling serene and tranquil and savoring that. Sharing laughter with a close loved one or friend and the lightness of that moment. Being inspired by great leaders. These are all important positive emotions that are really quite relevant, especially when we're facing difficult times. Feeling the love and closeness of people we care for. Now, all of these different positive emotions and more share in common two core truths. There are two core truths about these positive emotions. One is that they open us. They literally change the boundaries of our minds and our hearts and change our outlook on our environments. Now, let me get poetic here for just a moment. Imagine that you're this water lily. It's early dawn and your petals are closed in around your face. If you can see out at all from that vantage point, it's just a little spot of sunlight, okay? But as the sun rises in the sky, things begin to change, and your delicate blinders around your face begin to open, and your world quite literally expands. You can see more. Your world is larger, okay? Now, sunlight is what changes the openness of flowers like this. The openness of our minds and hearts obey the warmth of positivity, the warmth of positive emotions, changes how open our visual perspective is at a really basic level, and our ability to see our common humanity with others. And we know this because we've done randomized controlled studies where we induce positive emotions by the flip of a coin. Some people are either given a dose of positive experiences, cute puppies, goofy penguins, beautiful sunsets, or neutral pictures, chairs, light switches, things like that. Other studies use a very simple paradigm that was developed by Alice Eisen decades ago, where you give people a gift of candy, all wrapped up in cellophane, so you know it's not a sugar high that's creating but it's a gift, a token. They're either given the gift before the experiment starts or after it's over. In other studies, they have people listen to pleasant music. Now, in these kinds of studies, we know that it changes the way people view, can kind of step back and take in the big picture. Here's a study from my own lab where we gave people a series of tests like this where we showed a comparison figure, a target figure on top, and then asked which of these two comparison figures most resembles this. Now, there's no right or wrong answer. They each resemble it a little bit, but this one resembles it in its global configuration, this one more in its local detail elements. And what we know is that if you inject positive emotions, people are more likely to step back and see the big picture and see the similarities along those lines. Other work on this opening or...
Okay, we're going to finish here because this gives you the idea already. Okay, so this is exactly what you were saying, Raj. If we are open, if we feel positive, if we feel connected, then we open. And if we open, more learning is possible. Okay? Questions or comments about this?
May I please?
Yes,
please,
of course.
Please, Maria Teresa.
Thank you. I think this is really interesting for the issues that we are involved with, right? The activities that we have to perform in our classroom, especially. And I think to inject positive emotions is also related to the rapport that we have to make between teachers and students. It's a bit difficult to do this online because it's different when you are in the classroom face to face with students where you can create this kind of atmosphere. But I think it's the ability of the teacher to try to create this kind of thing. my experience is that many times students not only talk about educational problems or situations, but sometimes personal things, right? Issues that are really affecting their development in the classroom. And they can do it in class, but sometimes with the group it's a bit difficult. They might get in touch with me in order to tell me what they are going through, in order to make me understand as well their attitude, their behavior, or the development that they are having in the classroom. I think this is very important to create this kind of connection. Thank you, Dexy.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Okay, so let's begin with the activities. So you have the activities there in your handout, if you can see that, but we'll go through them. And these activities, the idea is not to say, for you to say, oh, one more thing that I have to do in the classroom. No, the idea is that you have to do speaking activities. Here we have an example of a speaking activity. You have to do writing activities. Okay, we can turn it into a writing activity. So it's instead of not adding on to what you're already doing, but adapting them to what you have to do normally in the classroom. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This activity, it works better with older students, but we can adapt it for pretty much everyone. Okay, and so it's called Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining. Is that how you spell silver? It looks weird. I've never seen it written before. It's called Every Cloud Has a Silver Lining. Yeah. Okay. So every cloud has a silver lining, and that's an expression in English. Maybe you're familiar with it, which means that it doesn't matter how bad things are, they always have something good. This activity, you can do it as a group activity or you can do it as an individual activity. For purposes of time today, we're going to do it as an individual activity. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to think of this tremendous, terrible, life-changing pandemic period that we are living through. What good things has it brought to you personally, or have you been able to see or to notice? One example, I was talking to my sister this morning and I was telling her that I'm going to give this talk here in today. And she asked me, aren't you going to give another talk in Amsterdam tomorrow? And I said, yes, that's right. Tomorrow I have a talk in Amsterdam in another conference. And she said, wow, in the real world, you wouldn't be able to do that. One day in Peru and the next day in Amsterdam. And I said, wow, thank you for giving me that example. I'm going to use that example in my session today. So that's one example of a silver lining. Because we are working now via Zoom, I am able to participate in two places, in two different events, without having to leave my house here in Guadalajara. So that's one silver lining that I can think of. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think. And then you begin telling me, for you, what has been a silver lining?
May I?
Go ahead.
This change in which we were all involved provided me the opportunity to prove to myself that I'm able to learn something else.
Wonderful.
And deal with technology, right? Something that in the past probably I would have never even thought about because, you know, I didn't need it. I needed very little of technology. But now, since last year, I had to learn and I had to put myself in a position, okay, I am going to do the things that would help me improve my teaching procedure to reach my students. And I think that was my silver lining.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And that's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, somebody else?
I'd like to say I've had time to do online courses like the science of well-being. I had the
Great.
opportunity to do that course. It was brilliant. And it's a Coursera course of 10 weeks that gives you all the basics of positive psychology, well-being, and all of that. So if
Oh, so
anybody's
you could give the
interested,
session.
yeah, if anybody's interested, that's a
Okay.
brilliant course.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Somebody else?
Matthew, go on.
Yes, of course. Well, due to the COVID pandemic, basically one of my silver lining, the most important one for me that I can share today would be the reaffirmation of my teaching, my love for teaching, or my teaching vocation.
Okay, wonderful.
And I?
Of course.
Yeah, one problem I had is my age. Yeah, but and then the thing that we face nowadays, before, well, still, is ageism. Okay, the discrimination because of age, and I was looking for a job, but I couldn't because I looked old. I am old, but then this pandemic gave me the opportunity to teach online. So
Great.
is not that important. Your looks are not important.
Yes.
So that is as a silver line. I was hired for a term or a semester, but then I'm doing my third one.
Okay, great.
That is the idea. I am already retired from, but I still can teach, and that's good because these online settings have allowed me to continue doing what I love.
Okay.
And while in person, I wouldn't find a job because that is how our
Society.
Society is. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's American, it's Ecuadorian, it's European, whatever. It is the way it is, and discrimination exists.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, great. Wonderful silver lining for you. Okay, anybody else?
Besides everything that everyone has said, and I like what Edison said about being old, but here we look younger. we look younger, we feel younger.
We feel younger, right?
Yeah, and we can pretend to be younger.
We can pretend that we're younger. Yeah. Exactly. I always like scare students, especially at the beginning, because, you see my hair is all gray and everything like that. And they say, oh, Dios, ya nos tocó con la viejita. And then I start with the classes. And, the other day I had them working in teams. Okay, so I made the breakout rooms, and now you're going to work in teams. And then I went into one team and they were laughing. And I said, what's so funny? What are you laughing about? And they were saying that we never thought that we would be working with the Simpsons in class, the Simpsons, and we never thought it would be with you. And I said, well, hey, and we talk about Nirvana and we talk about all kinds of stuff, and they're like, okay, old, but not out of it yet. Okay, great. Well, thank you everybody for sharing.
Maria Elba, sorry, Dix, I
say,
Maria
go
Elba
ahead. Sorry.
Maria Elba in Bolivia? No?
Don't be shy.
Maria Elba in Bolivia, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, if she wants to come back and say something later, that's okay, fine. Okay, so what can we do with this activity? It's a speaking activity. It could be like contrasting the past and the present. Before I couldn't, and now I can. Before I had to, but now I don't have to, or so you can be contrasting tenses using this activity, thinking like a language teacher, of course, right? So this is one idea. Okay, let's go to the next one. The next one is called Diamond Poems, okay? And if you look at the instructions in the handout, the instructions say that you start with one word and then 2 words, and then 3 words, and then it doesn't have to be that rigid. But the idea is that your poem, it takes the shape kind of like a diamond, all right? Kind of like a sideways square. So you start with 1 word, and then you have more words, and then you have more words, and then you have more words, and then you finish with 1 word. So here are your instructions. You are going to write a poem. Your poem begins with the word thanks. So in the first line, you're going to write thanks. Then in the second line, you are going to begin saying what you are thankful for. You're going to say 2, 3 things, and then 4, 5 things. And then, you know what? Let me show you the one that I have here, and that'll give you a better idea. Okay. So I start thanks. Thanks for my mom, and thanks for my dogs, and thanks for the sun and the moon and the stars. Thanks for today. Thanks. Okay, so you see how it has that kind of diamond shape? That's what you are going to do. So the topic is thanks. Write your poem, please. And I'll give you 2 minutes for that. Tell me when you're ready.
Meanwhile, hello, Isis Montesa in New York.
Good morning, Jaime. How are you?
Fine. Do you know Dixie Santana?
Hello.
No, but I'm really excited about all the activities that I'm learning. Definitely
Okay.
want to use it, especially with adults. Actually, they are the ones that need, you were right, the emotional connection. When I said adults, the teachers, they need to get ready. We're going to start in September, so they need to get ready to open
Good.
up.
Good.
Oh,
And
one more thing. Can we get the link for the handouts? Because I didn't see the link and I really like it.
I'll send it again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And hello, Rosa Eliana Luján. Not there? No, not there. Bruno
Okay.
Diaz, hello. No.
Hello.
Hello,
Hello,
Bruno.
everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
Where are you from, Bruno Diaz?
I am from Peru.
Yes, I can see the Peruvian football team.
Yeah,
shirt,
here I
t-shirt.
am.
Where are you
Yeah.
from? What part of Peru are you from?
What?
Where are you from? Lima, Piura, Chiclayo?
This time I'm in Lima.
Okay, but you were born in?
The same in Lima, but sometimes
okay.
I travel around, so.
Okay,
in the
welcome,
States, they are in
welcome.
Lima. Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Thanks a lot.
yeah, thank you. So anybody?
Anybody want to share their poem?
Yeah.
I can do that.
Go ahead,
Please,
please.
Edison.
Okay, so thanks for my precious little family and for my classes and students for reading one more day and helping out forever. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, Matthew wrote, thanks for being alive. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to teach. Thanks for a new day of learning, and thanks for my feelings and emotions. Thanks. Thank you, Matthew. Yeah.
Okay. If anybody wants to share, also raise your hand. But I just wanted to tell you, if there's one idea that you go away from today, it's the idea of gratitude. Gratitude is the most powerful of all of the positive emotions. And a really healthy exercise is every night before you go to sleep, just think, what am I thankful for today? Okay, I'm thankful for that funny movie that I saw just before I went to bed. I'm thankful for that beautiful day that we had. I'm thankful for that long walk that I had. I'm thankful for that call from whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. But just thank whatever you are thankful to today. And it's the number one thing that you can do to make your life more positive. All right. So a very, very healthy habit to cultivate gratitude.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then character strengths. Okay, this one, the way that I have it set up, it's appropriate for kids, but it can be adapted for older students also. Okay, so we're going to watch part of a film. Does anybody recognize the film? Does anybody know what film it is?
The Incredibles?
Very good, The Incredibles. Okay, and the two characters that we are seeing here at this moment are, remember their names? This is Dash.
The brother and the sister.
Yeah, Dash and Violet. Okay, and so it's Dash and Violet and their mother and father. These are the Incredibles, and then they have a friend that's called Frozone. Okay, so we are going to see the climax of the film. All right, so so we're going to watch this film, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. Let me click on. Oh, here we go.
Stay here, okay?
Frozone! Yeah!
Bob!
Hey! Syndrome's remote! Yeah!
The remote controls the robot! Throw it! Throw it!
Go long! Honey, take out its guns!
Mom, I've got it! I've got the remote!
A remote? A remote that controls what? The robot?
It's coming back! That wasn't right. Give me that!
Can't stop it. The only thing hard enough to penetrate it is itself.
It's getting closer! It doesn't work! Kids! No,
That's
this
not
will
doing
work.
anything.
Lucius, try to buy us some time.
Try the one next to it.
button! Got it! It's getting closer! Look out! Get out of here, kids! Find a safe spot! We're not going anywhere!
Press the button!
Not yet!
What are you waiting for?
A closer target! You got one shot!
Everybody duck! Hey, Zone.
Okay, so happy ending. So in the clip, we see, okay, let's see our four main characters: Dash, Violet, Bob, and Helen. Dash and Violet are the two children. Bob and Helen are the father and the mother. And they all have their strong points, but they also have weak points. Does anybody want to mention some strong points that you noticed, some strengths that you noticed? For example, we can say that Dash is very
Strong.
okay. Dash is the little boy.
Is fast.
He's
quick.
fast. Okay, so Dash is very fast. Okay, so this is something a strength, right? But at the same time, he's very impulsive, right? So he does things without thinking, and this gets him into trouble, right? Okay, what about Violet, the girl? What strengths do we see?
She's helpful.
Okay, great. And do we know any weaknesses that she has?
She's shy.
She's very shy. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, great.
Introvert.
Okay. What happened?
Maybe she's a little bit introvert, maybe.
Yeah, a lot actually. Yeah, this is like her principal characteristic. Okay, and what about the father? What do we notice about the father, about Bob? He's strong, yeah. But also he's kind of what?
Is helpful.
Yeah, he's helpful. Okay, great.
Overprotective.
Exactly, he's overprotective. Okay, and what about the mother?
She's the one. She's the one. I love the power women have, mothers have.
Well, she's actually an amazing character from many points of view.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
I heard somebody said that the man is the head of the family, but then somebody else said yes, and the mother is the neck.
Very possibly, yeah, very possibly.
It is.
But I don't know. I would say that maybe she's the head of the family because she has a better brain. She's smarter. But at the same time, she's kind of I don't know. I think he's more the heart. He's more like the softie of the family. Okay, so we see that they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. Okay, so Violet has this weakness that she's timid. And maybe you say, okay, so maybe, I don't know, do you see yourself reflected in any of those people? Do you see maybe I'm impulsive, maybe I'm overprotective, maybe I'm timid? Do you see yourself in any of these things? Maybe I'm a little bit rigid. You don't have to tell me, just think about it, right? Okay, and so then you can say, how can weaknesses become strengths? Okay, so for example, I can tell you that I am shy, I'm timid, I don't always appear it, but I am. But at the same time, this characteristic in me, it makes people like to talk to me since I don't talk that much. So people sit and they talk to me and they like talking to me, they like telling me things because I'm a good listener. Okay, so this is a weakness that can become a strength. So can you think of any other weaknesses that can become strengths?
maybe the solidarity.
Okay, all right. So what weakness do we see that can become solidarity?
Maybe when we try to do something for somebody, we don't do because we are ashamed, or we don't have the strength to do it.
Okay.
But we have inside the solidarity, and when you see something that where you are necessary to work or to do something, you do it. So
Okay.
you catch your strength.
Okay, great, great. Somebody else, another example, a weakness that you can turn into a strength?
Go on. Anyone?
Maybe it's not so easy. How could we turn impulsiveness? Okay, Dash is impulsive, but because he's impulsive, this means that he's also what?
Hyperactive, energetic.
Yeah, okay, but the good qualities of that?
Serenity?
Oh, he's not serene. No, he's not serene. He's impulsive, he's hyperactive, he's
determination.
Okay. Yes, determination. So he's determined. Is he cowardly? Is he afraid of everything?
He has a lot of perseverance as well.
Yes, exactly. Okay, great. So he has a weakness, which is impulsiveness. But if we channel that weakness, it can become perseverance. It can become a strength. Great. Okay, so the father is overprotective. We see this. He always wants to protect his family. All right. How can we turn that around to make it into a strength?
Maybe if we have shy students or timid students, maybe in this case, you could maybe help them come out of their shell, maybe.
Okay, excellent,
Make them
excellent.
more
Yes.
talkative.
Yeah, exactly. We can make them feel comfortable. We can make them feel protected. Okay, great. Good ideas. Okay, so the idea what we're working here is with the idea of acceptance. Okay, I'm not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. Yes, but even the bad things in me, I can use them. Even my weaknesses, my character weaknesses, I can use them in a positive way. That's the idea of working with this kind of activity. Okay. This clip, as I told you, it works well with young kids because they know the movie usually, but there's one that would be really good for teenagers. Could you think of that? Could you think of which one would be really good to use with teenagers? A similar situation, a similar film? Okay, because I was thinking that maybe the Avengers, the first one.
Yes.
Yeah, where they're all working together and also to save New York. And you see something like this also, where you see that they each have their individual weaknesses and their individual strengths, but together they as a team, they become very strong. So this would be a way that we could use it with older kids. And I don't know, maybe we can look for other films that have the same idea. Okay.
Yeah, but sorry, with the college students, I've used some of them.
Okay,
And
great.
But one of I use is right. This is one with the Hillary Swank, the writers that I don't
Freedom
remember.
Writers.
That is
Right.
an excellent one for
Yes.
for teaching them how to work with their weaknesses. That was this upbringing all of them had. And then how they transform it into something powerful. That is
Excellent, excellent,
I gave them I used to give them 6 movie titles.
Okay, great.
They had to choose one because that was one of the, but that is one of the things they appreciate also. It's the to have the power of choice.
Yes.
Yeah, so they can choose one of those and then they can work in pairs and present a movie report or anything. But
Exactly.
that was one of the movies I always used with my students.
Yeah, my students enjoy it also a lot. There's another film, it's called The Rocket Boys. It's a film that came out more or less in 1998, 99, something like this. The Rocket Boys. Is that the title? I don't remember if that's the name of the movie or the book. Okay, it's called October Sky. Rocket Boys is the name of the book. The title of the film is October Sky. And it's based on a true story. It's about 4 boys who live in West Virginia. They live in a very poor community. It's a mining town. They're coal miners. Their parents expect them to be coal miners, but one of them is brilliant. And they begin on creating a rocket, a space rocket, right? And they have different dreams. So it has to do with inspiration. It has to do with different character strengths. So also it's an excellent movie. It works very well with engineers also because there's a little bit of mathematics there. So if you teach engineering students, it's a good recommendation. October Sky, look for it. Okay, so the idea here, the emotion that we're working on, or the thing that we're working on is the idea of accepting yourself as you are and learning, but accepting, but transforming yourself, transforming your weaknesses into strengths. Okay, so do you want to go to the next activity?
Please do.
Okay, this is a very simple one. Senses of pleasure. Okay, so sit back, relax, take a piece of paper, divide it into 5 columns. At the first column, at the top of the first column, you're going to write seeing. Like from to see, the verb to see, seeing. And then number 2, hearing. Number 3, touching. Number 4, tasting. And number 5, smelling. So these are the 5 senses. You have 5 columns, and at the top of each column, you have a different sense. Now, in each column, I want you to write one thing that brings you pleasure through this sense. One thing that you really love to see, or that it gives you pleasure to see. One thing that it gives you pleasure to hear. One thing that it gives you a pleasure to touch. One thing that it gives you pleasure to taste. And one thing that it gives you pleasure to smell. Okay, so who wants to do it? Who wants to tell us? Let's start with seeing. What are things that bring you pleasure to see?
May
Yes.
Seeing the
Nature.
birds.
Birds, okay, great. Somebody else?
Dogs.
Dogs,
Dogs.
okay.
Every single dog I see in the street, I say hi, I say hello to him.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, and my partner says, why are you saying that? Because I love them, because they are beings. They
Yes.
are alive.
No, and they're actually quite wonderful beings. Okay.
Yes, yes. I
The
would
stars
say,
at night.
Okay, of course, stars.
The sky during the day, in a
Yes,
sunny day.
yes. What else?
my friends here on Sundays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
The
This is
mountains,
definitely a pleasure.
the mountains are important.
Okay. Ah, wonderful. You have mountains.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay, great. What about hearing? What are things that you enjoy hearing that gives you pleasure?
The sound of the
Music.
waves in the
Oh,
sea.
yes.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
There is nothing like that, nothing else, just like the waves breaking in the morning, at night, at midnight.
Yeah.
Yes. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Yes.
it is.
Birds.
We don't have here, but when I was in Peru, I was really emotional because it's the waves are very hard with a big I don't know, a strong net, huh? Very, very hard, and it's lovely. I really love that.
Yeah.
Also, listen in the morning the sing of the birds.
Yes.
I love it. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes, very much.
Or listen your grandchildren play in the
Yes.
garden or next to you. All of this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. So about hearing my children's laughter.
Yes.
Yeah, because
great.
two of them they don't live with us, so when they come and we get a chance to get together, and then when we laugh together, that is the best sound in the world.
Wonderful.
What I love hearing is, for example, when my students interact or they praise each other, or even they praise the teacher because they learn something new.
Oh,
that's what I love hearing.
Wonderful. Yes, definitely.
What I love listening to is, for example, my grandmother's stories.
Oh, how wonderful. Yes. Okay, great. Okay, so tasting? No, touching is the next one, right?
Definitely. Animals.
Oh.
I love
Okay,
touching animals.
yes.
My cat especially.
Okay.
Oh, dog, my little dog.
Yes.
Touch the skin of the babies.
Of course. Nothing better.
Nothing better than that.
Touching my hair.
Because you still have it.
Because, yes, Dixie. Yeah.
Yes, you say, well, I have it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if it looks great, whatever color, but I still have it.
Okay. And what about tasting?
Lomo saltado.
Ah, qué rico.
I miss that so much.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
I love tasting sweet fruit like mangoes, for example.
Oh, yes.
Passion fruit juice.
Oh my God.
I love it.
Yes. The ice cream is delicious.
Yeah. Pisco sour.
You make me want to go to Peru.
Ceviche.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
A good cup of tea.
Oh, also. Wow.
Cup of tea.
Yeah, in a very cold morning.
Yes. And smelling?
Flowers.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers. Bread when it's in the
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Recently,
the wet mud in the rain.
Oh, yeah.
Recently brewed coffee.
Oh, yes.
That is.
I like to smell when it's rained, like the smell of the wet earth.
Yes, exactly. Here where I live in Mexico, Guadalajara, it's a characteristic of the city. With the first rains, it has a very special smell. And there's even a song, Guadalajara, Guadalajara, and it says, hueles a pura tierra mojada, because of that precisely. Because it's famous for that smell of fresh earth when it's starting to rain. Yeah. And so it always reminds me of home, that smell.
Yes, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, well, this exercise. Okay, so we can use it for vocabulary. We can use it to practice. We can use it just as a short break. We can use it for a group activity where they can be talking and sharing ideas. So these are different things that we can use with this. We can use it to teach the senses when we teach the senses. So these kinds of activities. Okay, this activity we're not going to do. It's in your handout. It's relax.
I like
Looks
that.
like a teacher having fun on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, after class, right? Isn't it a wonderful picture?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so this activity, relax, it's based on those muscle relaxation techniques that you apply when you're very tense. So the idea is that you think about an activity and there's something that makes you tense, right? What makes you tense? And you say, okay, tomorrow I have to teach this difficult, or I have to give this presentation, or I have to, whatever makes you tense, right? So you try to acknowledge that feeling of tenseness, and then you begin little by little to relax the different muscle groups. Okay, so relax your hands, relax your arms, relax your shoulders, relax your neck. Okay, and so you go like this. So it's a good activity to do with children when they're when you want them to move a little bit. So that they're if they've been sitting too long, if they've been doing the class too long, or if you're in the classroom, if you want them to settle down, if you want them to be quiet and relax a little bit. And it's a good activity also for teaching the muscle groups, like, okay, or the parts of the body, hands, arms, legs, etc. So this activity works for all of that. So you have there, you have the instructions, you have the script, you have everything, but we're not actually going to do this because then we will fall asleep and we won't finish.
Yeah, just a reminder, we still got 15 more minutes to go.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this is the last activity that we have here, and then I'm going to give you a few minutes to create your own activities, or to tell us activities that you've done in your class. Okay, so this last activity is called Last Impressions, and the idea is the following. We talk about first impressions. The first time that you meet a person, you base your idea of that person on several different things. You physically, mostly, because that's the first thing that you see. So is the person smiling, or is the person not smiling? Is the person dressed nicely or not dressed nicely? Is the person agreeable to look at or not agreeable to look at, right? How does the person react to you, right? The body language. Is the person like open and welcoming, or is the person like standoffish, right? So we base our first impressions on these things. But this idea here of the last impressions is okay, and sometimes we keep that impression, or sometimes we say, when I met you, I thought that you were, but then I discovered that you're not like that at all, right? Okay, so the first impressions are important, but the last impression is also important, right? And the last impression is when you close your class, when you leave the class, think about a couple of nice things to say that will leave your students with a good impression of the class. This is the last thing that they'll remember of the class, okay? So you can do this either individually, or you can do it for the whole group. You can say something like, okay, everybody, you were great today. You did a really good job today. I really enjoyed working with you today. Wow, guys, you really understood everything today. You were wonderful. I had a great time with you, etc. Whatever. Or you can do it individually. Carlita, wow, that was great. Today you were really, really attentive. Thank you. Or you really participated on Andrea. I appreciate that, or whatever it is that you want to say. Okay, so that's the idea of last impressions, that the students finish the class, they leave your class with this last positive idea. Okay. Yes. Okay, so now what I want you to think is, what are some other things that we can work on? Let me remind you of the positive emotions. The positive emotions are joy, interest, inspiration, contentment, and gratitude, okay? How can you work with another emotion in the classroom? What are some activities that you do that you can adapt to focus on positive emotions? Or what are some activities that you that you think you could do to do this? Does anybody have an idea?
Anyone, please?
Yes, I have. Can I participate?
Please
do.
Share.
Yes, an activity that I used to do, and I've been doing it more because of the pandemic and our virtual sessions, is with my young students, because they are shy and there's a new group that I've been working with, so they're still a bit timid. They don't participate a lot. So as they are young learners, they have to move. They have to have active breaks every 20-15 minutes. So what I make them do is I make them bring certain objects. So class, please stand up and bring me a blue pen, for example. Okay, so they have to move, they have to bring a certain object, could be any kind of object, okay? And they bring the object, and then I ask them, okay, what can we use this pen for? And for this activity, you can use it, what kind of feelings or what kind of emotions can we transmit through a blue pen, for example?
Oh, great.
So it's adaptable as well.
All right, I like that very much.
And they can do the same with their bring your pet, okay, and maybe they can say, oh, it transmits love, kindness, loyalty.
Okay, wonderful.
That reminds me of
related.
Sorry, Maria Teresa, go on. No, please.
Something related to what our colleague was saying is to ask them to grab their favorite object, right? It could be a teddy bear, could be something that they really enjoy sharing with people. And also that experience, that previous experience that they had with the object can provide a little bit more input to have them participate, right? I don't know, I would grab my cup. And if you notice over here, I have some designs, right, from London. So when I look at it, I can recall to my experience living in London, right? If I observe here, for example, the London Bridge, or maybe the underground, or maybe this, what you call the double-decker bus, and so on, that reminds me. So that provokes some kind of information that I can share with people. And that's what I like to get from students as well.
Okay, that's great. So you could ask them something like, bring me something that brings you joy. And so they can look, okay, that's wonderful. Thank you, Maria Teresa.
Thank you.
You can also ask students to make photos of three precious things in your life or something like that. So they make a photo, they put together at home, let's say 3 objects, and they talk to us why they're precious, why they're precious to us.
Okay. When we were going to the university, when we had classes there, I would ask the students, I would divide them into teams of 3. And I would say, go out to the university, go out to the campus and bring me 5 pictures of things that you really like about the university and 5 pictures of things that you don't like at the university. And it was really interesting to see, you know, the things they liked and didn't like and why. It was, and sometimes they would bring teachers, pictures of teachers, and they say, I really like my teacher. Oh, that's wonderful, right? And they all hated what was that? The parking. They all hated the parking. Okay, somebody else?
One of the other things I do is use audios, but just music, instrumental music, soft music. Ask them to close their eyes, and I guide them. Say, okay, think of a place you would like to be right now. How is it? And they start describing. Or think of a family member of your family that you love to be with. Who is he? Who is she? So in that way, they feel more self-confident to talk about. It's like they are not talking about themselves, but they are talking about because guided by the music. And also when they limit one sense, the others are more developed. So when they close their eyes, they are more concentrated and they can speak and they don't feel a shyness, no? While they're expressing in a group.
Okay. All right, great. Wonderful, great idea.
The same when we listen a song or as a music in the class and you say them, draw something that that you remember listen this song or what you think when you are listening this song. And we have very interesting stories about that and they like do it.
Thank you. And saying that's great. But it reminded me that one silver lining of this pandemic is that you can find a lot of videos on YouTube for exercise. Yeah, so since nobody can get out to the gym, here's a 10-minute workout or a 5-minute workout, right? So I started doing this. It says 1,000 steps in 7 minutes. It's not 7 minutes, it's a little bit more. But you do a series of steps and it takes maximum 10 minutes and you do 1,000 steps in your day. So it's kind of active and it's a cardio and it activates you. So I would get up in the morning and I would do that first thing before I even got into the shower, right? And one day I was thinking, this brings me joy. This really brings me joy. I mean, I guess it's because of the physical activity and because my heart is going faster and because I'm getting more oxygen and everything like this. But this brings me joy. So this is something to think about in the classroom, right? It's not an aerobics class, but stand up, move, get your heart rate up, get yourself moving. And so, we're sitting. This is one thing that the students were complaining about in the studies that we did. Is we're sitting in front of the computer all day long, and it's exhausting. Yeah, and as teachers, well, we see it also, right? It's exhausting. So a little bit of physical activity will bring you joy, or at least it does to me. Okay, anybody else?
Anyone else?
I want to show you.
What I do is ask them how they feel about their classes, how they want, which of the activities they like the most, or how we could improve things in the classroom.
That's always...
That way they have a voice. The idea is to give them a voice.
Of course.
And then they okay, sometimes the people may say, let's not have homework. But that's not an option. But many times they come up with good ideas on how to improve things, and especially during class time, right? Maybe the idea, as I always tell them, is you have choices, you have options, but not all. But you cannot escape from doing homework.
I don't leave homework for my students.
Okay, that's the option you have.
Yeah.
My students need to do homework, in my opinion, but that's everybody's style.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on a lot of things. Yeah, but I don't ask my students to do homework. Okay, a lot of these activities I got from this website. I hope you can see here. It's positivepsychology.com. And then these are positive psychology exercises. I got the ones that I thought were more useful for the classroom, but there are other activities there that you can look at and you can see if you can adapt them. These activities, they are thought for psychologists and for therapy with patients, right? But I think that we can do them, we can adapt them, or we can do them with ourselves, right? And to practice positivity. In the same website, this is where I got the video that we saw about Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, and there's lots of information. So positivepsychology.com, you will find lots and lots of information there. Dr. Fredrickson's work here, The Broaden and Build Theory of Positive Emotion, you can find it here. And I told you that lately there's been a lot of work into positive psychology in language teaching. So here's an article by the Whale. He works a lot with motivation and things like that. So he's that's his area of expertise. There's this book, Gabris Başkır and Galashta, Positive Psychology Perspectives on Foreign Language Learning and Teaching. So that's a book if you're interested. And McIntyre and Mercer, Introducing Positive Psychology to Second Language Acquisition. And so this article also. Sarah Mercer is a person who is doing a lot of work right now into, she's always been working with psychology of language teaching. She's got a couple of books on the topic, but lately she's been working with positive psychology. So, so look into the work that she's doing, and you can find something else, I think, to add to what you're doing. Okay.
Dixie, thank you very much for these references. They're very helpful.
Thank you. So everybody check to see that they do have the handout.
Yes.
Okay. And
I haven't received the handout.
It's in the chat. Can you see if you can grab
sorry,
it?
I'm on my mobile phone and I haven't received it. Sorry, maybe is it possible if I give you my mail, you could send it to my mail, maybe? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, let me tell you, okay, put your mail, and also I'm going to put my mail here in the chat. So if you want to send me anything, or if you need copies of the handout, or also if you want copies of the presentation, I can send that to you. Okay, Matthew, got it. I'll send it to you. Okay,
or
so
if you want a face-to-face presentation given by Dixie, just write to her and she'll be there. As soon as the pandemic is over.
As soon as the pandemic is over. All right. And if you're in Peru or Bolivia, I would love to go back to Peru or Bolivia. So.
And I would love to go back to Mexico.
Yes, I was.
Great. We'll be waiting for you.
Okay. Yeah. As soon as we can again.
Okay, we got 5 minutes to give to make some comments or to say something to our wonderful guest speaker today, Dixie. On behalf of everyone, let me thank you for your time, your expertise, your ideas, and it's always beautiful to be positive and to be thankful and be grateful. I love being grateful to everyone because you make people happy. And it makes you feel happy too. And we are human beings. I always say that we are not doctors or PhD or masters, or we are human beings. And that is the equalizer. That is the equalizer. No matter what we do, no matter where we work, no matter where we come from, no matter what language we speak, but we are human beings. Anyone, please, who wants to say something before we finish our beautiful please.
Just to thank you, Jaime, and to thank Dixie for this opportunity. I think it's important to share our experience during this period of time where we cannot just have this contact with different people. Thank you for all the ideas. I think they are very useful, and I'm quite sure that each one of us going to apply them in our classrooms. Thanks a lot, and you are welcome anytime to visit us here in Bolivia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa.
Tu casa es mi casa.
Tu casa es mi casa.
Thank you very much also.
Thank you,
Dixie,
Maria Elba.
thank you very much. Thanks for all your ideas. Thank you for your game of being here in touching. I love it.
Okay.
And it's very nice to see you again. And to the next time.
Okay, a pleasure, Maria Elba. Take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this experience. Thank you for sharing your time, your experience, your knowledge. And as teachers, we are teachers, we are learners, we are psychologists, psychiatrists, we are second parents, and thank you very much.
And we are also patients who need love, passion, who need to be treated, who need medicine, who need everything, just like the students do. Thank you,
Yes.
Matthew. Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you, Juanito. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Maria Elba. Bye-bye. Anyone else?
Could I say something very personal?
Please do, Carmen.
Yeah, I've been diagnosed with cancer. I've been fighting cancer for 2 years, but I discovered positive psychology from Sarah Mercer. I listened to a podcast by her. I'm following her, and I mean, personally, anybody is a cancer patient, I think it's a long journey, but positivism. I'm always very positive person, and I've used a lot of strategies. Gratitude, for example, and that is really brilliant. Once you thank for everything that you get every day, you get back more and more.
Yes, that's
a
true,
hug for you, Carmen.
That's true. And thank you for your words. Thank you for being such a good example, Carmen. And you're always present, and that's beautiful about you. And thank you for being a good example of being a good patient, teacher, mother, and everything else you are. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
And the final words given by the president of this association, Raj Gill in Canada.
Dixie, thank you so much. I think you've touched on so many things about creating relationships in the classroom and not just the hierarchy of the teacher versus the student. So that's a huge gift to remind us.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj. Thank you for your words. All right. Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Take care. A big hug for you from Mexico.
Dixie. Don't forget, we will be back on Sunday 29th with Cordova, who will be talking about exploring TBLT, which I don't know what it is.
Task-based learning.
Very good.
Task-based language teaching.
As an alternative to foster EFL learning opportunities.
Okay, task-based learning is excellent. It's a great topic. Okay, hug for everybody, and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Have a very nice Sunday. Goodbye,
everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank
See
you.
you. See you.